Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, December 13th, 2016. We're here at St. Mark Presbyterian Church in Baldwin, Missouri, and we appreciate their hospitality as we are about to interview another great Missouri veteran. My name is Randy Pierce. I will serve as the interviewer today, and I'm joined today by some Missouri Veterans History Project staff members. Those persons are Susan Jones, an observer, Larry Balsamo, our videographer, and Carl Sherman, our logger. And it's our great pleasure today to sit down and learn all about service from Edwin Robert Atchison, better known to me as Eddie Atchison, here at St. Mark Presbyterian Church. Ed, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
So first of all, we want to hear it from you. Tell us your first, middle, and last name.
Edwin Robert Atchison.
And when were you born, sir?
I was born July 26, 1925.
And where were you born?
I was born, it's listed as Richmond Heights, Missouri, because it's where the hospital was.
All right. I think that's St. Mary's Hospital,
Right.
At least it is now. And tell us a little bit about your parents.
Well, my parents have been dead a long time, but my father was born in 1888. My mother born in 1890. And so I came along a little bit late in life because they were both 34 and 36 when I came along. I had an older sister who was 7 years older than me and didn't seem like I had any, because she was always so far ahead, and she was out of high school and gone just as I was getting into the 7th grade.
Sure.
So.
And what did your folks do?
My dad was he used to label as an engineering draftsman. He worked for Swerve and Purcell, and he worked for, actually back in the time I was born, he worked for the Missouri Pacific Railroad, and he lost his job in 1932 due to the recession or the depression.
Right.
And he actually was out of a job. We were on relief. He worked for the WPA as a clerical type person.
That's the Works Progress Administration.
Yeah. And then in 37, I think he got on with, I can't remember the name of the engineering firm, and I think from that on until he retired, retired back in he worked until he was about 75 or 76.
Wow. Goodness.
And it was around about 19, I really can't remember, really. It's been so long
And so
ago.
your mother was a homemaker?
Homemaker all the time. And my mother lived to be 98. She died in 88. And my dad lived in 89, and he died in 77.
Wow. Good bloodlines there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I expect to go the same way.
There you go. Well, we hope you outlast both of them.
Yeah.
So tell me about your childhood in Richmond Heights, or how long did you stay there, and where did you go to elementary school?
Actually, when I was born, the folks lived in Glendale with my mother's parents, and I don't remember how long they stayed there, but the next house I remember it was in Glendale also, down on Moreland Place. And all my time was spent up to about 5 years around there, and that's about the time my dad lost the job, and we moved into Richmond Heights, and from there we lived there for a year, and we moved over to Ferguson, and we lived there for about a year, and then we came back to live in the old homestead in Glendale, back where they were when I was born.
Sure.
And and then my aunt owned the house, and she moved to California, and that's when they had pensions out there, and other states didn't. So she moved out there, and she had a brother out there too, and we moved into Kirkwood from. We were in Glendale and living at the old homestead, and in 36 we moved to Kirkwood, and on the east side on Merriam Avenue, if you're acquainted with the east side of Kirkwood, down there, Holmes and Scott Avenue,
okay,
if you know that area. And then I lived there until I was drafted.
Wow. So, where'd you go to elementary school, or did you hit several?
I
of
went to
them?
Henry Huff, the old Henry Huff. It's now an apartment building location. The old new ones are diagonally across the street.
All right. And did you enjoy school?
Oh, I enjoyed it real well. I did.
And how were there any particular activities you enjoyed doing? Any sports or music or anything like that?
See, that was the time when they used to run from first grade to sixth grade, and then they would go to junior high from there.
Sure.
And I was active in playing soccer teams at elementary school, but then I moved to we were moved to Kirkwood, and I went. That was in '36, and I started in '37 to Knifer.
That's junior high.
Junior high
Right.
and the Kirkwood High on
Right.
South Kirkwood Road.
Right.
So,
And so you went to Kirkwood High School?
yes.
So you were a pioneer.
I was a pioneer, but I didn't graduate there. I was drafted at the end of my third year. Actually, I was 18 in July, and I got a notice on the 24th to be at the induction center on the 24th of September, and they wouldn't give me a deferment.
So they wouldn't let you finish high school?
No, they wouldn't. I didn't finish.
Goodness. I have to mention, I don't know whether Kirkwood does this, and I don't know whether you have ever heard of it, but it's important enough, I think I need to include it here, that some districts, Pattonville one most notably, they honor and give honorary diplomas to any folks similar to yourself who did not finish their high school education because of military service.
I'm glad to hear that.
And so I encourage you, and maybe if you want me to on your behalf, I'll contact Kirkwood High School and say they might want to get on board with
Well, wait till I tell you the rest of the story.
Well, then I'll let you go ahead.
But
we'll let you go ahead.
I in '46, I got home in April sometime, I went down to Rolla, Missouri School of Mines and Metallurgy down there. And after my first year, my freshman year, I transferred my credits to Kirkwood High School, and they gave me credit. And I got a diploma which reads June of '47. I would have been a June of '44, actually.
Oh,
but
my.
Which I am in the class basically when it's reunions. But
Right.
I actually, my diploma reads '47.
Wow.
But that was only in case I didn't finish college, because I felt, I needed something if I didn't have a college education or anything like that.
Sure.
So right now, that diploma, it doesn't mean a lot because the other one supersedes it, the
Right.
one from Rolla.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's interesting. Well, before you got drafted, I'll ask, were there any particular activities or classes that you remember from high school that were memorable?
Well,
Did you play any sports or a musical
I
instrument?
played sports. I played baseball and I played football. But at that time, I was on the B team of the football team because I only weighed about 135 pounds. And 6 foot at 135 falls over pretty easy.
Right. And the helmets then weren't very padded, were they?
No, they weren't. But I had started I had started for the varsity team in the fall of, what was I drafted? In the fall of '43.
Right.
And but I went to school from the start of school in September until I was sure that everything was out. I wasn't going to make it because
Right.
I would have been behind a whole year if I
Sure.
had waited.
Right.
And as it was, when I went down there on the 24th, I was accepted, and that was the end of it.
You couldn't fake a football injury or anything.
No, I
to get
couldn't.
Reclassified.
I was hoping they'd find something wrong with me.
Yep. And so this was the Army?
This was I wanted to go into the Air Force. I wanted to go if I couldn't do that, I wanted to go to the Navy. And I had bad eyesight, real bad eyesight. So the only one that would take me was the Army.
Oh, my. So do you remember where you were inducted?
Yeah, Jefferson Barracks.
All right. And so I guess they put you on a bus, and where did they send you?
Well, they put us on a train
A train.
and sent us down to Mineral Wells, Texas, at Camp Walters.
Okay.
And that's where on the 15th of October is when I started that was an infantry replacement training center.
All
A
right.
place I really didn't want to go in the infantry,
Right,
'cause
right.
that's where they fight.
Sure.
But anyway, I started down there, and they sent me to what they called, they had 2 specialized battalions in there that they trained for radio operators, wire, intelligence, and reconnaissance, and message center.
Okay.
And I was in the platoon that trained for wire, which was stringing telephone lines, so the telephone lines up to the front line and
Right.
things like that.
Okay.
That was part that wasn't done by the Signal Corps. That part was done by the infantry.
Really? Okay.
From regiment forward was the lines were run by them.
And do you have any particular memories of your basic training? Was it a challenge, or do
It
you
was
remember
a challenge.
Your
It was
first
a
drill instructor?
But I can remember that when we were on 10, 20-mile hikes, whatever it was, we always carried a baseball and some gloves with us. Instead of taking a 10-minute break like you allowed, we'd be there playing catch. Of course, I was only 18 years old.
Right.
And I couldn't do that now.
I'm amazed they let you do that.
Well, they did. They let us do it. They didn't care if we wore out, I don't think.
I guess they figured if you were staying
Yeah.
active, it was going to get you an even better
Well, there was
shape.
around about 10 of us that were of that age, 18 and 19. And we had fellas in there training for the infantry. I mean, for this, it was infantry training except
Right.
for the specialized training that you got.
Right.
And there were some 37-year-olds in there.
Wow. So
And,
they had been drafted, obviously.
They had been
also.
drafted also. They were that was kind of fairly late in the time of the war when I was drafted in
Fall of 43.
September of 43, although they hadn't invaded Europe
Right.
or anything yet.
Sure.
And so from there, most of the fellows shipped out. I say most, about 70% of them shipped out, and they shipped out to England.
Okay.
And which I was, I wanted to go with them because they said I had trouble with my feet at the time, which was mainly because I'd been in the hospital for a week with pneumonia.
Oh, my.
And when I came back, I was kind of run down,
Right.
And so I was shipped from there to there's 300th Infantry at Camp McCain, Mississippi.
All right.
And I might point out that I found out later I was very fortunate because all the fellows that I were trained with, they were in the invasion of Europe, and there was about 10 or 12 of them I'd heard back got killed.
So that was
they were on
the Normandy invasion?
Yeah, the Normandy invasion. So it wasn't any picnic, and I didn't realize at the time how lucky I was.
Sure.
But
So what did you do at Camp McCain, Mississippi?
I was I was sent to the wire platoon down there, and I was only with them for I can tell you how long I was with them, but I went there on the 29th of March, and on May 6th I was sent to Camp Crowder. So
6 or 7 weeks there.
yeah, that it so happened that regiment was deactivated, and the reason it used to be the training regiment used at Fort Benning, Georgia. If you know, Fort Benning was
Yes.
the officer candidate school.
Yes.
And they would turn this regiment over to the candidates to run and do exercises and so forth for. Well, they decided they'd been around too long. They either had to deactivate or go. Well, there was I can't remember which division it was, but they had the 301st and 302nd Infantry. These are regiments.
Right.
Well, 301st, 302nd, and we were the 300th, and the other one they had was something like the 270 or something like that. And they thought, well, the 270 had not performed that well in their I forget what you called it at the time, but anyway, their training and preparation to go overseas.
Right.
Well, they thought we would replace them, but it turned out that no, they're going to keep them because they'd been with their division that long. I think it was, I can't remember the division even. But anyway, then they decided, well, they can't keep this around, so they're going to deactivate it. They can't keep just a single regiment around. They got to be
Sure.
with part of a division or something. And they shipped me to Camp Crowder, which was Signal Corps. Before it was infantry.
Neosho, Missouri. Right?
Neosho, Missouri, and sent me
Right.
to, and they gave me training in lineman, which climbs poles and so forth.
So you got to wear those special boots with the spikes on them, and have
Well,
the
they
belt,
were
or what?
they detached.
Okay.
And they taught me how to climb poles, and I had learned how to run switchboards before, but that training was in there also.
Right.
For field switchboards and all,
Sure.
not the regular switchboards.
Right. Right.
But I spent around 15 weeks there, or 16 or 17. I can't remember
right.
how long the training was. And then I went from there to Camp Beale, California.
All right. So that would have been sometime in the early autumn, I guess, of 44.
Yeah, we were talking about this before. I went to Camp Beale in September 23rd and of 44 to the 4th Replacement Battalion, and I had a 21-day furlough, I guess it was, in between, or 2 weeks or whatever it was.
Right.
And before I went there, and this was located at Maryville, California,
Okay.
right outside of Sacramento, which had a lot of bars.
So you had some time off.
Yeah.
So did you check out all the bars?
Yes, I did. I checked out the bars, and I got involved with a girl at the time, but it didn't work out because I was going overseas anyway.
Okay.
And from there, that was the 24th of September, and on November 5th, I went to Camp Stoneman, which was a POE.
All right.
And
Point of embarkation.
point of
I think
embarkation.
we heard that in the last interview.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Heard Camp Stoneman a lot doing this.
So
Is that right?
Going to
Yeah.
ship you out through San Francisco.
It was
I
it
guess.
was the POE for South Pacific.
Okay.
And then I left on December 1 on the General UL Scott, which was a
Is that a troop
troop transport.
ship? Okay.
And we landed at Hollandia on December the 23rd
Now
of
that
44.
Hollandia being New Guinea.
New Guinea.
So you went straight from San Francisco all the way to New Guinea.
All the way to New
and
Guinea.
how was that voyage? And it's-
Well, for me it was all right, but I can tell you, I pulled guard duty the first night, and before we got out of San Francisco Bay, there must have been half the ship was seasick. It was the bay was rough,
Wow.
and half of them were seasick. But thank God I wasn't one to get seasick
How did
anyway.
you had experience on the ocean, or you just had a strong stomach?
Yeah, I wasn't even experiencing. Yeah, no, I had never been on a boat before.
Wow.
So, I was all right.
You lucked out.
I found out you don't watch the horizon anyway.
Okay. Okay. You pay attention to what's close to
Yeah.
you. So you got to Hollandia, New Guinea. Tell me, what were your first impressions when you got to New Guinea?
Well, it's a hell of a jungle. That's all I got to say. I thought, boy, am I glad I'm in the Signal Corps. I don't want to have to fight in this jungle. You couldn't see more than 15 feet ahead down in that jungle if you saw that far.
Wow.
Places there was open, but I mean there was places pretty thick too.
And I imagine it was probably
But they
hot
had
and-
cleared this area out. It was a repo depot.
All right,
there.
a replacement depot,
Yeah.
right? And so was the weather hot and steamy?
Yeah, it was. It was very hot. We were only about 2.5 degrees south of the equator there.
Okay.
And then from there, I guess actually all we did was wait around and catch KP and unload some boats and things like that.
So being in, as they call it, the Repel Depel, you were waiting to be assigned as a replacement to some other unit.
That's right.
All right.
And apparently I had been, you never know, but apparently I had been assigned, and I was on the 4th of February of 45, I was shipped out on the HMS Glen Earn, which was
It's a British or Australian ship.
British
Yeah.
ship it was.
Okay.
And they had boats. It was so hot. Boats were what do you call them? The lifeboats.
Lifeboats.
Were stacked like this, and one out here, and two like this, and this is the boat over here. So what we would do is they had the ropes that fell around the sides like that on each of them. We would, and it was so hot, we'd go up and sleep on the outside edge with nothing but the ocean right to an area about that wide. We'd sleep on that because it was so hot down below, and we'd take our belts and strap those two loops together,
Right.
so we wouldn't, if we started rolling off, we wouldn't roll off at night, you know.
Oh my gosh.
So that's, I remember that well doing that.
So they were taking you away from New Guinea and delivering you where?
Up to Lingayen Gulf.
All right. That's, I believe it's Lingayen. Am I close?
Linguayen. That's
Okay.
right.
There's a U in there I missed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
And that's the Philippines?
right.
All right.
And I went to San Carlos, the Philippine Islands,
Okay.
and that's where while I was there, they had rescued a bunch of the prisoners of war. And I'll tell you, God, I've never seen so many skinny guys in my life, really.
So these
And
were Americans?
These were Americans, and they came in there, and they didn't want any of the new members really talking to them.
Really?
For some reason, I don't know. But anyway, that's where I ran into a whole bunch of them at the time, and didn't talk to any of them or anything like that.
Wow.
But they had I think they came, I can't remember, I read the story. They came from a camp that's probably midway between Manila and Lingayen Gulf.
So they were,
up in that area, San
in
Carlos.
a POW camp in the Philippines?
Yeah, that's where they were.
Okay. All right. So had you then been assigned as a replacement to a new unit?
Yes,
then?
I had been assigned to a replacement at that time, and I was sent on March the 5th to the 436th Heavy Signal Construction Battalion, Aviation it was classified as.
Okay.
Actually, it was on the 28th of February when I went.
And so what was your primary duty there? Were you still involved with
I was
the
a lineman. Yeah.
Lineman?
Yeah, I've got some pictures I could show you that later, but I was a lineman, and we went from there to I picked up the unit in Santa Ana, the Philippines, Luzon,
Okay.
and that Santa Ana is just a suburb of Manila.
Okay.
And that's where Nielsen Field and Nichols Field were. It was an old Air Force,
right.
or Air, I don't know whether it was an Air
Base.
Force or whether it was
Yeah.
commercial, but it had all been bombed out and everything, and we were there in tents and everything.
So were you there as a construction battalion? Were you there in any effort to fix those fields? Was that your
Well,
job or
we
no?
were there to fix the pole lines that had been shot down. We worked into Manila.
Okay.
And we used to call them 2-arm or 4-arm. In other words, there was 4 cross arms
Right,
on the pole,
on the pole.
that size, which is a pretty big pole line.
Sure.
And we built one all the way down from there to going south. Other parts of our battalion actually picked up and went further south, but when we got through there building that, they sent us down to Lipa, which was the southern end of Luzon. And Lipa was the town, if you don't remember or maybe you've never heard, but that's where the Japanese picked up babies and threw them up in the air and caught them on their bayonet. So we weren't there when that happened, but that's the same city that we went into. And I would say this, that most of the time we followed about 8 miles behind the front. And we were, while we were there at, I might say that while we were there at Manila, at Nielsen Field, we could hear the artillery shooting. Now, the artillery was probably back, they were up at Mount Ariyat, which is where more or less we understood that the Japanese were supposed to regroup and go to there, and they were infiltrating through. And every once in a while, we'd be in our camp there at Nielsen Field, and you'd hear a rifle bullet skim through the ground. You didn't know where it came from or anything like that, so it didn't make much difference. You just knew that it brought you a little closer to the fighting area,
Sure.
war. But we were probably at that point about 6 miles from the fighting and everything that they had.
Right.
They were still fighting in the walled city in Manila when we were there.
Okay.
If you know what the walled city was.
Yes, the older part.
Yeah,
Yep.
and,
Yep. And there's still portions of that today that have bullet pockmarks.
Is that right?
The
Have you been over
Filipinos-
there?
My brothers and my father went a few years
they
ago.
did.
Yes, and they saw that.
Yeah, I can remember coming through. We used to go into Manila and go north and build some lines on the north side of Manila. Basically, that's the way we were building them, on the north side. And I can remember when we went in there that about the first day or so I was there, there was a big pile of bodies. Must have been 15 feet high. They were all Japanese, but they were all dead. And they were piled up on, and they had a bulldozer digging a massive grave for them at the time, because the city stunk.
Sure.
It was rotten bodies in there.
So can you tell me, did you have much interaction with the Philippine people? And if so, how did they respond to the Americans?
They were glad to have us, I'll say that, and they were as helpful as can be. I mean, they were not apparently like they are today, I don't think, but they were glad to have us. In fact, we had with us what I forget what they called them, the Philippine. It was like some part of the Philippine Guards, and we had around about 5. Well, they've been like infantrymen, but we had around 5 of them. And they would go out with us when we're out, and they would be armed, and they would be spread out maybe 50 yards or 100 yards around where we're working, and just to watch that nobody was coming by or something like
Sure.
that, because I can remember one day that I was on top of a pole. It was a pipe pole about that big around, and you put a ladder up against it instead of using climbers. But I was up there, and I hear this bullet go over my head, and they said, "They're shooting at you up there." And I was on the ground before they, I was on the ground before they cut that out of their mouth, I'll tell you.
Okay. So when
And,
I need to ask, obviously, your primary job was putting up lines.
Yes.
When you were putting up lines, were you carrying a weapon with you?
We always had our carbine with us in the
30
truck.
caliber?
It was always laying in the truck. Sometimes we wore it. We didn't wear it on a pole.
Okay.
But we wore it around if we were going to be down on the ground for a while or anything like that.
All right.
Because we never knew what would happen.
Did you ever have cause to use it?
No, I didn't. Unfortunately, I'm very glad of that. I didn't have it.
Sure.
Because I can remember one time that we were down I was in Lipa. I was telling you, we were down in Lipa, and we were in a big, either it was a must have been a big warehouse of some sort. And what happened is they kicked out all the boards about 3 feet, or 3 feet high, or 2 feet high, around all the sides, so air could come in. It's so warm down there. But I could remember laying in I had a cot, and we were all in the same building, and we had guards around, of course, at night and everything. But I was laying in there one night, and I could hear somebody walking, and then all of a sudden I felt the creak in the floor, and everything. And I was scared to death. I went to sleep with the carbine right next to me. And it turned out there was the guy on the cot next to me turned over, rocking the board in. But you don't realize it at that time.
Sure.
And one of the other things is you'd see these guards would go out. I can remember one was in Manila, and we were up, I guess, not more than 100 yards from the location. We were along the railroad track, and we heard some explosions, and we didn't know what it was. But when we went up there, they found out that there was 2 Japanese trying to get back to this Mount Ariata or wherever they were going anyway, and they got them trapped. And one guy put the grenade on his head, and the other one between his legs, killed both of them.
Right.
And I'll never forget that this was the cleanest insides, because they didn't have the strong
helmets.
No, they didn't have the strong grenades that we had.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it just cleaned out his head, and it was jagged all the way around. Just cleaned out everything inside of his head. And then there was another time where we were down there in Lipa, and there was some of these Filipino guards. They came carrying a piece of canvas, and it was weighted, you could tell. And they got there, and they let it down for us to see, and there was 3 Japanese heads in there, and all the Japanese had a lot of gold teeth, and all the gold teeth were kicked out. I guess they took it and saved them, But those type of things, I mean, you never forget seeing these things like that.
Absolutely.
But we were fortunate. We had some guards. We didn't have them all the time, but we had them most of the time.
Right.
And I felt very fortunate. I guess I was the closest I was to any fighting was about 6 miles.
Well, if a bullet went over your head, you were a
well,
little
that's right.
closer
There
than
were some
6
of them that
miles.
infiltrated through, and there was some go through the ground, the grass. You could hear it.
Right.
Hear it.
Right.
But just fortunate you were not the one to be. And then we'd go in to Manila or Santa Ana at night and have a few drinks.
You were entitled.
Yeah.
Blow off some steam. I need to now. This was in early '45 when you were in the
This was
Philippines?
in February, March, April, May.
Okay, I want to ask you about something in April, as I recall.
Okay.
That's when President Roosevelt died.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Can you tell me, do you recall how you learned about that, and what was your reaction to his
I
passing?
think we heard about. I don't know whether it was passed down through the organization, or whether they had the radio.
Armed Forces
Armed
Radio?
Forces Network. Yeah.
All right.
And we might have heard about it on that. I don't remember.
And
I
did
know
you
we
have
were
any
all shocked.
You were shocked.
Yeah.
So, not to get political, but had you been supportive of President Roosevelt, or do you think most of the troops were supporters of his?
I don't know what the troops were. I was 18, so I hadn't voted yet.
Sure.
And my parents had, and I knew how they voted anyway.
Sure.
So yes, I think we were. We really didn't pay much attention to those type of things, to be honest about it. There may be some people that did, but
Right.
but I don't think that
Okay.
the rank and file did.
Speaking of your parents, did you have any effective sort of communication from letters or packages
Oh yeah,
from home?
we had. I don't think I got any packages while I was there, but I got letters pretty regularly from my mother. I guess about once a week. I wrote about every 2 weeks or something or like that, or longer maybe sometimes. you
And I
know.
suppose you had to be pretty general in the news that you provided your mother.
Well, yeah, they were censoring all mail going out at the time. Although I don't know why they needed to.
So you were trying to reassure her, I'm guessing.
Yeah, yeah.
You were okay.
Yeah, that's right. And but no, everything was censored going out of the war
Certainly.
zone.
So in the spring you were in the Philippines, and did you stay in the Philippines until the conclusion of the war?
Well, we stayed in the Philippines. I've got some dates here. We were in Lipa in April, and then we pulled back actually to San Fernando, which was that was the, if you remember looking at the map of the Philippines, Bataan was down. Well, if you look at it this way, looking how you see, Bataan was down this way, and up here there was water in there,
Right.
and up here right at the curve was San Fernando.
All right.
It was, and then down this way was Manila. So, what was I going to say? That we pulled back there, and that's where we were at a used to be an old Filipino army camp, and we set up our Company A and headquarters for the battalion were there.
So this was still with the 436th.
Yeah,
Heavy
I was with
Construction
436 all the time I was there,
Battalion. Okay.
except later on in Japan.
Sure.
Actually, we on September 3rd, you remember, we were at San Fernando, and that's when I was taking a shower one night. They had outdoor showers because it was
Right.
plenty warm,
Right.
And my platoon sergeant came over and he says, "Well, they just dropped a big bomb on Japan, and the war will be over in a week." And you're crazy. War over in a week after dropping one bomb, So sure as heck, he was right. The war was over, and I guess that was in August. And the last bomb was dropped, I think, August the 6th.
And so they
And-
did you celebrate with your buddies?
Oh, well, we celebrated. Yeah, I don't remember what we did. I don't. Well, I'm sure I had a few beers or something
Okay.
like that. But we went up to San Fabian. We were transferred up there on September the 3rd.
That
And
was still in the Philippines. Obviously.
yeah, I was still in the Philippines. That's Lingayen Gulf, actually. San
Okay.
Fabian was, and we waited for. We were loaded with 110%. Actually, we were getting loaded before the bomb was dropped.
And
we
that was loaded for.
we had 110% of our TO&E, our table of organization and equipment, and we had 110% of men and supplies and everything
And that was intended for
for the invasion.
of Japan.
Yeah, and I
Do
used
you,
to.
do you recall what was going through your mind when you thought you were going to be part of that invasion?
Well, I was concerned, because you didn't know, because I found out afterwards we were due in at D+1 to build on the southern island, not Kyushu, but Ryushu, I think it is. It's the big southern island.
Okay.
And we were due to build a pole line from there, which was around 20 miles, to the airfield. And we were due to go in on D+1 and build that pole line in there. But we didn't know that at the time.
Okay.
But we were all concerned. We didn't know what we were going to find, but boy, we couldn't wait to get there. That's the way things were. They,
You wanted to get it over with.
yeah, well, you wanted to get there. You wanted to fight the Japs. I mean, really.
Right.
Of course, I wasn't shooting a gun either. I was I was climbing poles. I wasn't,
Sure.
I wasn't in the gunfight. So I'm sure that those fellows may have felt a lot different. I don't know.
So the end of the war came, and am I correct that you were part of the occupation forces?
Yes, in fact, I landed at Wakayama on September the 29th, and that was the day, the September 29th, 45.
Right.
That was the day that all units landed at Tokyo and wherever that day to take over the island, take over the
Japan.
Japan,
the
yeah.
homeland.
There was probably a company of personnel up that laid everything out. They laid out where we were supposed to be. You remember the war was over around about the 6th of August, and this was almost a month and a half, 2 months later.
Right.
So we had to be prepared and everything, and it took us that long to get really up there. I guess we left on the 17th, I think it was,
Of
September, and got in on the 29th. We didn't rush to get up there because we kind of went up in a convoy in the group that was going there, and we went on LSTs.
Sure. Landing ship tank, I think.
That's it. That's it. And the
No
whole
seasickness there, I hope.
No, never had any seasickness.
Good.
In fact, I just got through with a cruise and didn't have any
Well,
seasickness.
excellent. I would hope not on a cruise.
Supposed to happen.
So
Yeah.
tell me about what do you recall from being a part of the occupation forces?
Well, I can tell you from Wakayama we went to Fushimi, and that was probably 40, 50 miles north of Wakayama, and that Fushimi was a suburb of Kyoto. And Kyoto, if you know anything about it, is a shrine city.
Okay.
And that's where the emperor was first started, when the emperor was in Tokyo.
Right.
But that's where they first started with. They had emperors and stuff, I guess. And they decided not to bomb that town, so that was nice. There was no bombing, because I went into Kyoto, and we were in 6th Army we were under 6th Army, and 6th Army headquarters was located downtown Kyoto. And we were in Fushimi, which was, I don't know, we used to take a train back and forth from there. They hadn't bombed that part of it. But I can tell you, I was in Tokyo, and that place was leveled. Fire bombs and everything. It was completely, just a few buildings were left in it, really.
Right. Well, a great many of their buildings, I think, were wooden. as
Yes,
opposed
that's right,
to
and that's why the fire bombs
brick
did
or
it, yeah.
More
Incendiaries
masonry.
they dropped, yeah. So, but anyway, while I was in Fushimi, we didn't do too much. We pulled the normal stuff that you do in a camp. We did build some practice lines and stuff.
Were you by chance putting any lines in to operate there, either for the occupation forces
Well, we
or
put
the
in,
Japanese?
yeah, we put in. They might call them AT&T, but it wasn't. They had a Japanese telephone company, and Army headquarters. I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit for you, but Army headquarters had in the basement of this building was the Daikin building. And we took over the whole building, about 6 floors, the whole building 6 floors high. And they had a frame, if you're acquainted with that terminology, but a frame where all the wires came into.
Okay.
And then you run out to, cable goes out there, just like you go into the office here on Manchester, the telephone company office.
Right.
They bring the wires in there, and they bring in the trunks and everything to
Sure.
that, and they spin on to go out to the residences and every
Right.
place like that. So we built a network to the different Army units. I've got a map that shows the layout, and went to the different Army units and so forth. also we furnished telephones to every office that had an Army, which was only Army there anyway, but
Right.
we furnished telephones to them. We had a regular telephone directory and so forth. So, but going back a little bit to tell you, I was in Fushimi with the 436,
Right.
and I think it was on November the 2nd. Of course, I had progressed in rank all along at this time, and I
What was your rank by that point?
by that point, I was a sergeant first class, or a T5, not T5, tech sergeant is what they call them. 3 up, 2 up, and 3 down.
Okay.
So anyway, at that point of the game, and I got that a lot. There was a lot of people who went back home because the unit I joined, a lot of the fellows had 36 months overseas. They started in Australia. They went over there in 42, I think it was. Yeah.
Right.
And they came up through New Guinea, and then they had Palau, and but I didn't join them until they got into Luzon.
Right.
They weren't in Leyte. They were in Luzon. But anyway, they shipped me. It's 6th Army. They shipped me to 6th Army headquarters. There were some people leaving, so they needed some experience and whatever. And at that time, I was considered almost an old hand, and I only had been there about 12 months, something like that. And so I was sent up there, and I was the war chief, what they call the war chief for that. And from November the 2nd till I believe it was, January 1, I know the 6th Army deactivated. And so all the 6th Army, the major officers, officers and so forth, they went home. And I Corps took over. And that was the outfit that ran it at that time.
Right.
And we lived in a museum at that time. It had been cleared out, and nothing but Army cots and stuff in it. And it was about, I guess, a mile or so away from the building. And then every morning we'd have a big old semi carry us up there to go to work, and in the evening they'd take us back home, just like work,
Right. So this was early 1946.
That was February. That was in November the 2nd is when I went up there, and I was with the 58th Signal Battalion at that time.
Okay.
I was in the headquarters Signal Battalion, but then I happened to be my good friend from my unit transferred up to 6th Army headquarters at the same time, and he was a photographer, so he went to the photography outfit. And I haven't got with me, but I've got a bunch of pictures. I must have over 150 pictures that when they deactivated the unit, they threw these pictures out of the photo section and got rid of them. So I went through a lot of them and took them and brought them home with me.
I think maybe Carl here may be wanting to look at some of those later or get access to put those into the files for the history project.
Okay,
We'll
I
see.
got them at home, but these were taken by Signal Corps photographers, not me.
Okay.
These all were taken by me.
Right.
So, and then while I was up there after the first year, they came around and asked for volunteers to stay a little longer. They said you'd stay 2 months longer. And it was too late for me to go to school in January to get back home and everything. So I thought, well, I'll make some money.
Sure.
So I signed up to stay. And it so happened I spent all the money on a girl when I got back home. So
So this was in
I'm just like everybody else.
There you go. And so when were you discharged?
So, well, I went to the replacement depot on April the 3rd of 46.
Right.
And on the 13th, I sailed on the Admiral Mayo to Seattle. And when I got back here, I went down to JB.
So back here being
yeah,
St.
but,
Louis.
yeah, that was the day we left, I guess, and I don't know how. I don't remember when I haven't got a date here saying when we got back.
April or May of 46. then.
Yeah, it was May sometime of '46, and I went down to. Finally got from over at Seattle. I forget the name of the camp, but it's a well-known one up there. We down here to be discharged, and I was. I guess it was around. I don't know. We were down there for several days when I got discharged.
That was
Before
at
I got
Jefferson
discharged,
Barracks.
yeah. Well, I didn't. That's right. I didn't get discharged. I had when I had been overseas in the South Pacific. I broke out with a lot of boils and blisters from the heat, and I guess it was the acne. Really, basically, is what it was. So before I left, I asked them to give me some treatment, and that's when they treated me with. Ultraviolet, I guess it is.
I think so.
That's before they found out it was not the best thing to do.
They shouldn't have done it.
Okay.
And I guess it was about a month before they discharged me. I lived at home and went back and forth every other day
So
down.
you were back living in Kirkwood at
yeah,
home?
yeah,
All right.
for about a month before I was discharged. So.
Okay.
And I was discharged on June the 10th, '46.
All right. So I'm guessing you had some desire, jumping back to what you alluded to earlier, that you wanted to get some education then, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you use the GI Bill?
I sure did. I wouldn't have had it if I wouldn't have had the education.
And tell us again where you went on the GI Bill.
I went down to, it's now University of Science and Technology.
Right.
It's
Missouri.
been named about, Rolla.
Missouri Science and
Yeah,
Technology.
it was called
Right.
Missouri School of Mines and Metallurgy, and then it was,
Right.
was
University of
commonly known as Rolla.
Right, UMR.
UMR,
University of
yeah,
Missouri-
University of
Rolla.
Missouri. That's part of the University of Missouri. People don't
Right.
know that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And so what were you studying then? Or
I
did you-
was studying mechanical engineering.
All right, and that helped you, am I correct, to get your high school diploma officially
Yeah,
in
got my official
47?
diploma, right.
All right. So then did you continue for a degree at Rolla?
I got my degree at Rolla. I had considered staying down there as a assistant, not a professor, but on a graduate program.
Graduate assistant?
Yeah, and but then I decided, no, I've had 4 years of this. This is enough for me.
And so did you get a degree in engineering?
I got my BSA, a bachelor, BSMS.
Okay.
What is it?
Bachelor of Science?
Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, BSME.
BSME, Mechanical Engineering.
Yeah.
And so what did you decide to do with that degree?
Well, I came back home, and it so happened that my father-in-law, I had gotten married. Well, the other thing is I got married in '49, the year before I graduated.
Okay, now I have to ask. Did you marry the girl that you spent all the money
No.
on? No.
No, I
different
didn't.
Girl. Okay. This was
I
someone.
found a better one.
All right. Was this someone you met back here in St. Louis?
Yes, it was. In fact, I had met another girl that I was enthralled with, but then she changed her mind. So then I started looking again, and I was invited. My good friend, who has now passed away, and we were both in the service at about the same time. His mother said, "Why don't you go down to?" She was Baptist. "Why don't you go down to Baptist church? And on Sunday evenings they got programs down there." Well, I went down. Both went down there, and they had a progressive dinner. We were both invited to this progressive dinner, and that's where I met my future wife.
Betty?
Betty, yes.
Yes. All right.
Actually, her father was a contractor, and we got. I'm a little ahead of myself, but we got married then in June of. This was back in early '48.
All right.
Time I was still in college,
Right.
and as I started to say, anyway, my father-in-law was a contractor, and so we got married in June of June of '49.
Okay.
And we lived down at Rolla for a year, and then we came back home and lived with her parents. And her father said, "Well, I've got a job for you and everything." And so I got out, and I found out it was a carpenter's job. But I really made good money, and I had no room and board.
So you were a carpenter with a mechanical engineer.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's the other story here is that I got out and I hit my finger one day with a hammer, and I hit it hard like that. And I took that hammer and threw it the length of the house. I said, "You can shove this job. I'm quitting." So I went looking for one, and I ended up working for General Electric on their test engineering program up at Cincinnati, Ohio, where they made their jet engines. I didn't test I tested the jet engines, but I did not. Testing, I didn't fly.
You were not in the. You were not.
I
off
was
the
testing them in
ground.
a test cell.
Got it.
And then every 3 months you would go to someplace else. Well, within that 3-month time I started, I got a letter from the government saying that you are, I missed something here. While I was in college, I got a reserve commission in ROTC because of $20 a month, because $20
Sure.
a month was a lot of money at that
Sure.
time. And I started that in '46, and in '48 I got my reserve commission, and
So
then
were you a second lieutenant? then?
yeah, I was second lieutenant, and I got it in the Signal Corps instead of the Engineering Corps because I had been in the Signal Corps and they let me have it that way.
Right.
And so when I got out, I was inactive, didn't attend meetings or anything like that, but I got a letter telling me they want me to come down for a physical. And I came down for a physical, and that was in March or May. I don't remember exactly what the dates were. Anyway, I was. It was in March. That's what it was. Anyway, they wanted to see me in 2 weeks. Well, I had to get and they, as soon as I passed the physical, they. I don't know how long, it wasn't more than a week, I was shipped out to Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, to the Signal Officers Training School and so forth, and equipment.
Now, was this because of the Korean
Korean
conflict?
War. This was the Korean War was going on at the time.
So this was into 50
This was
or
in
51?
51, April 51, yeah,
Right.
March, April, yeah. And so I was supposed to go, I think something like 9 weeks there, or 10 weeks or something like that. I don't know how long it was. But anyway, while I was there, I ran into Colonel Reichendorfer, who was the colonel of the signal section at 6th Army Headquarters. And I went in to see him in
So
my
you-
suit, not a Army uniform or
Right.
anything. I went in to see him, and I said, "I remember when you left that you said if I can ever do anything for you, I said that you would do what you could for us." And so we talked a few minutes, and he calls in the captain. He says, "Put a flyer on Lieutenant Atchison and send him down to Alamogordo."
Alamogordo,
Yeah, down there to the laboratory down there,
New Mexico.
New
right?
Mexico. And I
So this
worked
was a
with
general that you had known from your experience in
yeah,
World War II.
He was the head of the signal
right,
section.
who remembered you from the Philippines
Yeah.
and that time. And
Well, I didn't know him.
Japan,
Yeah,
in
well,
Japan.
yeah, I didn't know him at that time. I got
Right.
into the 6th Army Headquarters.
Got it. So you were in the occupation.
So I
forces
thought,
and
boy,
you
I've got it
remembered.
made. You know.
Wonderful.
So I guess it wasn't long, about a week or so after that, I got a call from the the organization, it was the 29th Signal Battalion, Signal Construction Battalion at that time, and they were down at El Paso, Texas, and that's who I belonged to, even though I was up there getting training.
Right.
And they said, well, we're getting ready to go overseas. And I told them about this arrangement I had. They said, well, it's too bad when they're put on alert, you can't get out of anything. So I didn't get out of it. I had to go. So they shipped me. I dropped school right away and went down to El Paso, Texas.
All right. And they were going to ship you out to where?
To Europe, which I was glad to have that happen because I was afraid I was going to Korea.
Sure.
And
where in Europe did you end up?
we ended up in Kaufbeuren.
Sounds like Germany.
Yeah, it's Germany. That's south of Augsburg, about 50 kilometers.
Okay.
If you know where Augsburg is. Augsburg here, Munich over here, and
Right.
down here.
So it's southern Germany.
Yeah, in fact, we were about 50 kilometers north of Garmisch-Partenkirchen,
Okay.
which is a wonderful place. But anyway, I went overseas with them, and
So what was this outfit?
it was, well, the outfit was the Signal Construction Battalion, Heavy Construction Battalion. Did the same thing I did before.
Okay.
And they had been in Europe,
European theater.
yeah. And as I don't know whether it's appropriate to say what I told you earlier, but
No, go right ahead.
well, this happened to be an all-black unit. That's before integration at the time. We had 33 white officers and 3 black officers and 1,100 men.
And were all the enlisted men African American?
All the enlisted men were,
Yes.
and only 3 officers were out of the 36. And I was a platoon leader, and in Company C, I think it was. I can't remember now. Company D it was, no. Anyway, while I was there, another fella and I were picked to go build a pole line through the Cap Sous, France, ammo depot. And so we took a platoon of men and went over there and worked on building this pole lines up and down between the ammunition and everything, so to the guard areas and everything. Well, so happened that was about half done, and because they were I was expecting, which I didn't know. Well, I didn't know at the time when I left, but I found out after I was over here about a month that Betty was expecting.
Your wife was.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she was able to finagle a thing between her and a doctor. I could get an emergency leave to come home.
For just a visit, I assume.
Yeah, just a visit. That's all. And I left them there and came home, and they were just about done at the time anyway. That's why I was able to go. And I came home, and I was home for Christmas that year of 51.
And this was your first child?
Yeah.
And was that child born while you were at home?
Yes. Yeah, it just happened to be born about a week before I left. I had 30 days, so I was afraid it wasn't going to happen. But anyway, I had to go back, and I went back to Kaufbeuren. Well, I didn't go back to Kaufbeuren. I went back to.
To France?
I went back. No, I went back to Germany, and I can't remember the name. It's up right across from. Gosh, I thought I'd never forget the name of these things. That's why I didn't write them down. Anyway, it's not far from Heidelberg.
Okay.
And the crossing into France from there, and then we went down. It's the Cap Sous, located about 50 miles south of Bordeaux.
Right.
And we were over there, and that's when I left from that.
Sure.
And I came back to the company, and the battalion had moved up to this other space.
Right.
And I joined them there and was with them for about 4 or 5 months. And didn't say before, but when I got called in, it was supposed to be for 15 months. And it so happened that my 15 months were over with at June or whenever. I think June.
June of 52, I guess?
Yeah, it was the first day of June is when I was discharged. So I got back. I'd been here about 2 weeks before I got
All right.
discharged.
I have to ask, were relations appropriate? Were relations good between the black troops and the white officers?
Yeah, the relations were really, but you always had something. We would pull these short arm inspections at midnight, and you'd find guns and all that on these fellows over there. And it wasn't legal for them to have it. All you did is take it away from them anyway.
Any reason why you think they felt the need to do that?
Oh, I really don't think I don't think that they had any ulterior motive with that. I think they wanted it
For security?
not as much for securities, but as souvenir,
Okay,
I think is what they wanted it.
got it. So
And
the armed forces at that point in 51 and 52, they were not integrated yet. Is that
no, they were not integrated.
Because I thought President Truman was the one.
Well,
who
they had
integrated
started. They had
right.
started, but our signal battalion was not the 58th
Okay. It was-
Signal
it
Battalion.
was
I mean,
still
59th. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Was not integrated at that time. But after I left, I'd heard that they started integrating. So
Okay.
there was one we ran into. I ran into one day with Signal Battalion we were out. Actually, we were starting to build a line from Kaufbarn to Augsburg. And I ran into another Signal Battalion in there. And they had a mixture in it and all.
So they were integrated.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were discharged in June of 1952, and you came home to St. Louis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you were going to resume life as a civilian, and how did your career go from that point?
Well, at the time, I came home and I started looking for a job, and I looked at 5. I could have gone back to General Electric if I wanted to, but it meant moving every 3 months and buying a trailer to carry all the
Household goods.
the household goods and things like that.
And you had
The
a
way
young-
we
a
first
young
moved,
child.
it was just in the back of a car. And so I started looking for something around here. And I interviewed Southwestern Bell. I interviewed, I forget the name of, I interviewed Anheuser-Busch. And there was I can't remember all of them. There's 3 of them I interviewed. I had 5. And I had 3 offers. And one is the one I can't remember. I don't know whether it's the same company now or not. But I had an offer from Anheuser-Busch and one from Southwestern Bell. And Anheuser-Busch wanted to put me on a drafting board. And that's what they thought of engineers at the time. Anyway, I don't know what. But anyway, Southwestern Bell put me into a management development course where I went to every 3 months. There was 5 departments. Anyway, it took 65 weeks to go through this
Okay.
thing.
Wow.
And when you came out with a job someplace. And my first job was in Joplin.
So this was with Southwestern Bell.
All right. Mm-hmm.
And how long did you live in Joplin?
We lived in Joplin 4 years.
All right.
And
Meanwhile, was your family growing? Did you? How many?
Yeah, we got 2 more kids down in Joplin.
All right. So
A
you
boy, a girl, and then a boy.
So you had 3 children
3.
then. And after Joplin, where did you go?
Well, from Joplin, I came back home to St. Louis for 18 months. I had 2 jobs while I was here, and they shipped me out to Chillicothe.
Oh, Missouri.
Yeah,
All right.
Missouri. It was on a promotion, And I stayed there for 9 months. And
So you were still getting to move around.
yeah, and then from there they shipped me to Moberly as district superintendent.
And that's in Missouri, obviously.
Yeah, and then I went from Moberly. I was there at Moberly for 4 years, and I went to Springfield
Missouri?
on the same type of job, and it was a bigger town and everything, but the area I covered the area from Moberly to Kirksville to Hannibal to St. Charles to Boonville. That was the Moberly district.
Sure. The northwest corner of the
Yeah,
state.
and Springfield
Northeast.
was just as big. I mean, just as the area was,
Right.
but they didn't have as many small towns in it.
Sure.
And so, anyway, that was. I ended up working. I came back from there from Springfield after 18 months, and to St. Louis, and I had about. After I came back from there, I had about around 5 or 6 jobs before I retired, probably different jobs.
All
before.
with Southwestern
All with
Bell.
Southwestern Bell. I had 34 and a half years.
And so when you say 5 or 6 different jobs, those were different assignments here in St. Louis?
Yeah, they were assignments in
All
St.
right.
Louis, yeah.
All right. And so you raised 3 children here?
3 children, and
am I correct? You were active in Boy Scouts
right. I started the troop
here at St. Mark
at St. Mark,
Presbyterian
yeah.
Church?
Mhm.
And you probably spent a few hours or miles out at Philmont
Oh, yeah, I went back to Japan, believe it or not, in '93
with Scouts?
with the Scouts. It was 4 of us. 3 of us were picked by one of the Scouts, one of the district. It was in the New Horizon. Well, it was in the Pioneer District at that time.
Okay.
And and we were sent to. I can't remember the name of the town, but I did get back to Kyoto.
Wow.
For-
You did?
Yeah, didn't recognize it hardly at all.
Wow. Fascinating.
Yeah.
You probably had a few stories to tell the Scouts that you took along.
Well, yeah, but it was a wild time, I'll
Sure.
tell you. Yeah. We were someplace, I can't remember where we were. I was on the western side of Japan, and I didn't know anything about it really. But I did take a day or so to go back to.
It was almost 50 years since
yeah.
you had been there before.
Yeah,
That must have been fascinating.
yeah, it was, and the airport. The fascinating point is seeing Tokyo again. I've got some pictures that you can see. Tokyo is just completely gone.
It was gone in the war, and then it was a modern city.
Modern city now, and
Right.
airport and everything. And
Sure.
It's just different.
And you've been very active in the church here at St. Mark.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know your first wife, Betty, passed away a few years ago.
Yeah, she passed away in '06.
And since then, you've gotten happily married to another lady
Yeah,
in our
in
church.
2012.
There you go.
So,
There you go. And I know you, in honor of your wife, as I recall, I think there's something outside of our church.
oh
that you had
yeah,
put
there's
up. Tell us what that is.
cross out in front that I built and paid for. In remembrance of my wife.
Sure, sure.
And
Well, Ed, what in your retirement, besides church activities, what have you kept busy with? Do you have any hobbies?
oh, yeah, my kids, I guess, more than anything. I had 3 kids, and I got 5 grandkids, and I've got 8 great grandkids.
Wow,
So-
that's wonderful.
And there's still 2 boys that haven't gotten married.
So there's might be more on the
Yeah.
way. Very good. As you look back, as we wrap things up, can you tell us whether any of your service experiences affected you in any way later in life? Were there any benefits that you maybe connect
Oh
to your
yeah,
time
I
in the
think
service?
I grew up during the war, and actually it's because of the service working in the pole line construction and everything made it easy for me to get the job with Southwestern Bell. I remember at the time we had a special way of putting poles in. This Cap Sous was in France, southern France, was in a marsh area almost like quicksand in a way. And you had to put telephone poles in the ground, and every time you dig that hole and pull the thing out, everything caved back in.
Sure.
See, so the fellow that I was with, the two of us that went over there, two lieutenants that went over there, another fellow and myself, we used a pump. We had a big pump that we got, and had a pipe about that big, and we set the pole up. Everybody would get pike poles, and they'd hold it up, you know. And we'd set the pole there, and we just start that pump going,
Right.
and with a high pressure, and it just ate the sand and everything out underneath that pole, and the pole just went down just as nice as can be. So,
And that's
but-
how you got it sighted.
yeah, and that's I didn't get cited for anything, but is that what you mean?
No,
Said-
I mean with an S, not a C.
oh, yeah.
So you got the pole situated
yeah,
that
yeah,
way.
yeah. We got to sit.
And then did you end up using that technique with Southwestern
no,
Bell?
never did.
No.
They don't have any swamp areas. That's
Sure.
down in Mississippi.
Okay. Okay.
That's what Camp McCain was, swamp.
There you go. There you
But
go.
no, I had photos of that, and I still got it, but I don't know where they are either. And I showed it to the personnel man down there, and I actually was let's see, I started in '52 right after I came back. In June 30th, '52 is when I started, and I was 52 and 25. I was 27 years old when I came back from
Okay.
then, and actually I was older than they wanted people right out of college. You know,
Wow.
younger. They wanted younger people.
Right.
because-
you're an old man.
Yeah, I
Not
was.
20-something.
I was one of the older ones, yeah. And so, but they got a special, he talked after seeing that and everything, he talked to the people, the proper people, and they hired me.
Great. And if you had, say, any of your grandchildren who said, "Grandpa, I'm thinking about joining the service," what would you tell them?
Well, if they were the right frame of mind, I might tell them go ahead, but I see no reason for getting into it because it's we got too many world actions going on now, and I think they could. And it's not the type of war that it used to be. I told you we were 6 miles behind.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know where your enemy is in your Iraq
Sure.
or anything, and I just. I mean, you can get blown up in France in one of these places, you know.
Right. At a movie or a
Yeah,
concert.
that's right, and I would not encourage them. I'll be honest with you. If they were hell bent on doing it, that's all right. But
Sure.
I wouldn't encourage them because I think war is different than what it used to be,
Okay.
and because you don't know who your enemy is.
Right. Is there anything that I've overlooked that you want to add in here before we wrap up our visit?
We're going to go through his pictures here. Okay?
All right.
Okay, so I'm
All
gonna,
right.
I'm going to stop it so we can get situated. a
Okay,
little
I just
bit.
want to
Okay.
say thank you, Ed. This has
Yeah.
been great.
Appreciate
It's been a
it.
pleasure.
Well, these are actually all in the pictures of in the Philippines, and actually we're in an area between Manila and San Fernando, and these are different pictures. I think this one was me up here on this one, and
And that's what you call a forearm, am I right?
that's 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that's a three arm.
Yeah,
They're
it's
double
double
arms.
arms. They're double arms, yeah.
Okay.
I remember one time in a situation like this, I don't know if I'm on there or not. I think I may be. But we were coming along, and there was some Filipinos there, and another group was coming down the railroad tracks as they walked down them, and one of them yelled, "Makapili, Makapili." That meant that they were, I don't know what it meant to them, but it meant to us that it was Japanese
Oh.
and all. And boy, we scrambled like mad off of those poles and everything
Sure.
when that happened. These are some fellas here going home. This was in the jungle area of the, not real thick jungle, but it was part of the jungle area that we built pole lines in. We had a pet monkey over there. This is a picture of me in one of the.
Down a little bit. I'm getting glare off.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, there you go.
okay.
Perfect. Okay.
These two are me here, and here, three of them.
Okay.
And
So this whole page
is all. This is all Manila.
Leave that
You can
down.
see how the buildings were blown up.
Right.
Although this was an open city,
Pretty damaged.
legislative building and everything. And this is where it's down in front of one of these buildings, closer up someplace or on other sides, where I saw that pile of Japanese bodies. These are two girls that were over there. They're our laundry girls. We'd pay. I'm sorry,
Yeah, that's okay.
pay them. This is part of the walled city here. This area is here.
And this is you, obviously.
Yeah, that's me. I was 20 years old at that time. This is the loading our LST to go to Japan. This is Osaka. This is part of the convoy up there. This is
That's Fushimi.
this is Fushimi, and it's a composite picture of these basically. And you'll see a little bit later, but these were all wood buildings, and what they did, had been soaked. They had lice and stuff in them, and they sprayed them with an oil-based stuff. Well, it was set to catch on fire, and that's what happened. One of the buildings did. This was my good friend. This is a Mexican fellow. He wasn't Mexican; he's American, but
Some of your buddies,
yeah, and
guys in your outfit.
we're all having a good time. This again is myself there. You like that picture, I know.
Looks like they drained a few bottles.
Yes, we did. I really wasn't that heavy of a drinker. This is Wakayama Harbor. This was taken by the Signal Corps fellow, and I think it's a beautiful picture.
Oh yeah. So that looks like a U.S. naval vessel out
Yeah,
there.
they're sitting in there. It was November of '45. I think this is the photographer. He was a well-known
Is
photographer.
that Kyoto
This is Kyoto, yes.
with that big?
Yeah, Kyoto was a shrine city, and of course you had a lot of these around. This is the B Company, the fire that caught fire, the barracks that
Wow.
caught fire there, and there wasn't much left of it when they got through. It just went up in a hurry. This is Kyoto, Japan, just some street scenes. They had a lot of canals in them. One thing you would see over there is a body floating down in these canals where some Japanese may have committed suicide.
Yeah.
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 These again, this is still all
That's
Kyoto
Right.
here. This again, this was the Daikin building. This was a building that we were in at 6th Army headquarters.
This is the shocking one. Here.
Yeah, this is Hiroshima.
That's. And here you got one
Yeah.
building and nothing else around it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go back to that page again.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, you're okay. It is.
Not much left. I guess there was no warning given to you guys about radiation at that point, about walking.
No, there
through it.
wasn't anything about that.
Did you get that, Larry?
So were these pictures that you had taken?
No, I'm sorry. These are pictures that I got that were taken by somebody in the Signal photo section, and they were down there. And this was before they threw a bunch of them out.
So
I
they
got
were
some-
ready to throw these away.
Well, not these. I got these from them.
Okay. Okay. You'll finish, Larry, with this page, Larry?
Yes.
Okay, and here is some pictures. This
Occupation money, I guess. There's Australian money.
This is money's used in the Philippines. They were $1. It was
this
American
is-
dollar.
And this is military currency
Yeah, that's military currency.
for Japan.
Yeah, and this is, you remember the old Hawaii, and this was this was actual currency. I think it was I don't remember what the exchange was. This is from Australia. It's a half a pound, it looks like.
And this is a barracks shot.
Yeah,
somewhere,
yeah, that is on this side.
I would
Yes.
think, because it's in English.
Right.
It's interesting. It says Japanese government 10 pesos.
Yeah, the pesos. That was for the Philippines.
So that was when the Japanese
Yeah.
occupied the Philippines.
Right.
Okay. So they used English.
There weren't any things that we use. Here's again is the Japan. These are all Japanese
Right.
money that they used.
Okay.
And this is some more. And as I say, this girl here is from Australia, and I kept it because it was just.
Okay. Now I got to ask. This says Texas, but it looks.
But
like
this
a
is when I
snowman.
first went into the. Yeah, well, there was snow down there.
Snow in Texas.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is when I first got inducted. I was training
Alright.
at that time in the wire platoon.
Where are you there?
Camp Walt. Well. In the
Where are
picture.
you in the-
I'm here,
Okay.
and this is a barracks picture of all the people in there. You can see some of the ages looking of some of these
Right.
people.
They're
They don't.
kids.
Yeah.
Camp Walters, Texas.
Yep. And that was a barracks that we
Sure.
lived in, and this is me.
So that's you.
That was
hard
down
work.
at this is down at the.
I'm gonna move this down just a little
Yeah.
bit
Sure.
so I get the glare
Sure.
off of it.
Yeah.
So what do they have a special name for that belt that you use to hike
Well, it's
yourself up?
just a lineman's belt.
Okay.
And that one.
There we go.
Yeah, that's better. That's a great picture there.
But these are,
There's pictures of the World War II memorial in D.C.
yeah. That's we went to all the monuments in D.C.
And they fly you
And-
up and back in one day, don't they, Ed?
Yeah,
They leave early. But they
yeah. I
take
left
good,
at 4 in the morning.
They take good care of you.
Here is some more.
See if, I don't know.
This is from
That's the Korean
Korean War,
memorial,
yeah.
and I think that's Air Force, isn't
yes,
it?
that's Air Force.
Yeah. And that's the Vietnam Wall.
Does it help to hold this up?
Yeah, yes, perfect.
And I'm not
And,
sure.
and
the
this
one-
is part of the. I wish I'd labeled these now. This is part of the big overall. I'll show you the monument when you get to it.
Okay.
I
Oh, yeah.
forget-
That shows the different campaigns.
Yeah.
Because there it says New Guinea.
Yeah,
And you were in New Guinea.
right.
And it lists all the different battles in the Pacific, Southwest Pacific,
Yeah.
it says there.
And then here is some more of the same
There's-
thing.
There's Luzon right there in Manila.
And who went with you on your honor flight?
There was something like 40 of
Your
us.
granddaughter did, though, right?
No, I
that
went.
was-
Oh, that
didn't
was.
you have a
yeah.
guardian that went
No,
with you?
we met one over there. That's
Oh, that's right. That was.
you see, this is part of that. Just a
Right.
minute. I was just going to show you.
They may have changed that where they add a guardian.
Well, they had no. They'd still do
There's
it.
the Iwo Jima, the
This
Marine
is
Corps.
this is a good friend of
monument.
mine. Very good friend of mine. He's down at the Bluffs right now. But what I was going to show you, these are each two who could walk and do everything
Right.
were assigned one. So this is
guardian.
one that was assigned
Okay.
here with to Wayne, and this is the one that I was assigned here.
Very nice.
And
So they
here's
met you-
here's the group. Yeah,
They met you in D.C.?
They met you. They furnished a lunch and dinner to you.
Right.
It was sandwich box
Right,
dinner and so
right.
forth that they had. And every place you went, they would meet you like this. A bunch of people with flags and
Sure.
all.
Yeah, it's a great
meet you.
program.
I'm going to take a shot of the whole group here and then that one on the bottom right.
That's a great program, that honor flight.
And then you would have somebody who needed to be pushed in the wheelchair, and that's usually when they had a relative came along and
Right,
did that.
Right. That's the
Yeah,
guardian.
that was great.
And I think this is the.
Yeah, that's a great picture.
Yeah.
The Marine Corps Memorial. And that's the Tomb of the Unknown, I guess.
Yeah, that's Tomb of the Unknown.
Right.
This too.
All right, Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. You went April of 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Okay, now you can kind of do your closing out.
All right.
Okay, this is the.
Oh.
I'm sorry. This is just a.
Yep,
close.
that's from the kids. Ed,
yeah.
thank you again. It's a real pleasure. And on behalf of the Missouri Veterans History Project, we want to thank you for the interview, but especially to thank you for your service.
Thank you a lot.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
All right.